Hey everyone. Today I'd like to talk about what I consider canon in the Star Wars franchise. So I like to describe myself as an original trilogy purist, and basically what that means is I only consider the theatrical cuts of A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi to be canon. Now, why do I hold this view? Well, in my opinion, in my view, the only good parts of the franchise are those three films. Like, if you consider the prequels, they're all bad. If you consider the sequels, they're all bad. If you consider the spin-off films, they're all bad. When it comes to the TV shows, there are only two good Star Wars TV shows. So those would be the Clone Wars micro-series that was made by the same guy who did Samurai Jack. I think it's Genndy Tartakovsky. And that was before TCW, like what we now know as TCW, even aired. Like, I think TCW began airing in 2008, and this micro-series lasted, I think, from like 2003 to 2004, and it was supposed to be like canon to Revenge of the Sith, because it's set in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. But then Revenge of the Sith came out, and there are continuity errors with the micro-series, so it's definitely not supposed to be canon anymore. And TCW, when it came along, basically replaced it as canon anyway. So that, and then Andor, which, I mean, I still haven't seen Andor, but everybody's raving about Andor, so I'm just going to trust that the general consensus is right about that show. So yeah. Now, people may argue, well, if it was made by George, then we have to consider it canon. No, fuck that. Fuck that. Listen, I will always be thankful to George for, like, starting the franchise, but I will not consider the prequels canon, even if they have George's fingerprints on them. Again, they're bad films. And even Revenge of the Sith is a bad film. I know that people love Revenge of the Sith because it got re-released in theaters recently, but it's still bad 20 years later. So, but yeah, the original trilogy. So I guess the only way that you could watch the theatrical cuts of the original trilogy would either to like have a Laserdisc version, or to have like a VHS copy of the OT, or you just get the despecialized editions. Thank you, Army. But yeah. Now, if you were to twist my arm and say, okay, you have to select something from like the rest of the franchise to be canon. So you have to select like a handful of things to be canon. What would you consider canon, or like pseudo canon, depending on your mood? So the things that I would consider pseudo canon, if you really, really wanted me to, would be things like the Shadows of the Empire game, Dark Forces 2, Mysteries of the Sith, which was like an expansion to Dark Forces 2, the original Thrawn trilogy, written by Timothy Zahn, and the Hand of Thrawn duology, which was also written by Timothy Zahn. That's what I would consider canon, or pseudo-canon rather, because they don't really conflict with anything that is portrayed in the original trilogy. So that would be what I would consider canon. So, yep, just thought I'd get this out there.